Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Mel.
Hi guys.
And Erin.
Hello.
And Pat.
Kia ora.
And we're going to be talking about the best way to increase your prices without pissing people off, I guess.
Just a reminder before we get started to use my code Little Moon for 10% off all courses. I get a kickback from these enrollments, and they're how we support the production of the podcast.
Or you can use my code, Patsative.
Yeah, or mine's Jungle Nails.
So before we get stuck into this week's new topic, Pat, can you revisit last week's episode for us? What were we chatting about?
Last week, we were actually talking about all the different available products or systems that different nail techs use. It was so much fun because we even got into the history of the evolution of these different nail systems. It was very cool. We learned about the A to B scale in terms of products, and yeah, just the pros and cons and our experiences with these different systems. Lots of really juicy, interesting, really technical stuff. So if you find that kind of thing fascinating, make sure to listen to that one.
Alrighty, so from different products to charging for different products, let's talk about increasing our prices. So I spend quite a lot of time trying to convince newbies to charge more. So I figured, why not have an episode where we actually talk to you about how to do it with our range of experiences. So increasing prices can be scary, but the thing is that if you increase your prices, like a percentage of your clients will drop off, I'm sure, like probably, but the rest of them will stay and your perceived value will increase. So let's just go over a couple of, like, we don't need to talk about why to increase prices and stuff, like that's a whole other episode, but just more talking about how we have put out prices in the past and how we kept that percentage of people who are staying happy. First things first, I think number one is give notice. So if you send out like a really lovely email, publish the change on your website, put it on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, and set a date with, like, I think around a month's notice, but also get straight to the point in your first sentence on the email, like prices are increasing on this date. It frustrates me personally. I don't know about you guys, but it frustrates me when people send an email like this and just like dilly-dally, and then the whole point of the email, like the bad news part, is 3 paragraphs down, and I'm like, okay, fine, you could have just told me that. Maybe that's just me and my personality, which I know it is, but I think you just get to the point and say, just letting you know, this is happening on this date, and then talk about the why. A month, I think, oh wait, no, what do you guys think?
I think it makes sense to get straight to the point, because you don't want people to miss that news, because if it's really long, people might just skim read it and then they'll miss the part where it says, I'm increasing my prices, and then they'll be shocked and they'll be like, what the hell? You didn't tell me. And it's like, we did, but we buried it and you never noticed. So we don't want people to get upset. I mean, someone will get upset, but if we tell them at the beginning, that at least you know that there's no way they can have missed it. It's like, it's right there. That's what I'm thinking.
Totally agree with you, Pat.
Yeah, agree. Like, I don't want to read that, like, oh, the weather today is so nice here, blah. I don't care. Just tell me, like, increasing my prices because I deserve it, and this is how it's going to be from here. Like,
boom.
I think as well, like a month notice gives you, the reason I think a month is good is it gives you enough time to see them in person, because your regulars are probably on a 2 to 4 week cycle. So even the ones that you just saw yesterday, if it's a month's notice, that's enough time to see them in person, which means you can have a conversation, make sure they saw the email and answer any questions that they have. And it kind of guarantees like at least one payday has passed between you giving them notice and the price change taking effect. Like if they need to really consider the way it changes their budget. It also means if they were thinking about leaving, like if they sort of thought, oh crap, you've still got enough time to see that one more appointment and therefore impress the crap out of them so that maybe they come one more time and you just do your best work you've ever done, and then they're like, oh well, maybe I'll stay just one time, and you get to keep them.
Because quite often people don't check their emails regularly either, so being able to talk to them face to face, I just think it's a bit more personal and less, trying to think of the word, but like it's just a bit nicer to be able to say it in person to someone.
Yeah, and it just reminds them, like, you're a person, you're just trying to make like a living, and you do a good job and you provide this great service. Like, yeah, it just lets them see you, I suppose, and you can chat to them in person.
And I think as well, so then in the email after you announce the date, I do think it's really important to explain why. Like, not everyone, I mean, like Mel kind of touched on, she doesn't want to skim that stuff. And I agree, like I would skim everything else. But so like not everyone will read it. But if you list the improvements that you've made to the business since the last time you assessed your prices and relate the improvements back to the client's sort of problems, like the reasons they come. So for example, I wouldn't just say in a bullet pointed list, we got fancy coffee. Like I'd say, to help you relax, we got a beautiful range of coffee and tea for you to enjoy before you head back to the real world. Like, make sure that the visuals in their head change and they see exactly what they love about visiting you. Like if you just go like, we got fancy coffee, and then they go, well, I don't drink coffee, so who cares? But if you say like, to help you relax, we did this for you to enjoy, it's starting to set that visualization of like, actually, you're right, they do help me with that. And that's a concept called giving the why before the what, where you give the benefit of something before you give the fact. But I for sure think like, even though most people will skim it, I reckon you take that second to write out what you've changed in that last period of time and how it benefited them.
Yeah, I think that's and it's good, like I'm going a little bit off track from what you were saying, but I think if you're also going to be increasing your prices, it's nice to add like a little bit more value somehow. I just know this is quite a good topic actually for me, because just at Studio Nails with who you guys know I contract with, we are just looking at doing some price increases in August and restructuring the services. So we've just been discussing anyway how we can add a wee bit more value to the appointments, so it feels like they're paying a little bit more, but they're getting a bit more in their service.
We'll go into that a little bit more in a second, but I'm wondering what stuff, if you had to list out what you've changed in Salon since your last price increase, what are the things that you have changed?
New pedicure setup has been changed. I think personally my service times have gotten a wee bit more efficient because I'm doing nails a bit more regularly than I was when I first sort of started there. Aesthetically, I think the environment's nicer, like there's been signage added and little one-ups have sort of happened along the way.
I think you can definitely frame like your times being more efficient is such a big one, I reckon. Like to say, well, like since our last price increase, we've worked really hard to make sure that we're still offering you the same quality but with a speedier service by working on our speed.
Like I'm not one of these people that's like I want to go real quick, because I know with me I'm super anal about detail and I do take a lot of time in that, but that's just me and that's the kind of service I provide, and that's not going to be for everybody, but the clients that I do attract love that. So, and that works for me, and I feel good about my work when I working that way.
I think that's where the word efficient is more important than fast. Like some people would frame that as being we've got faster or our service times have gone down, and I think I personally would frame it as being more efficient, because people can appreciate that, but they've been coming to you. They know that you're not rushing. They know you're doing good quality, but they'll also be like, you're right, it does feel more efficient, kind of thing.
Yeah, like I think I've chopped about 15 minutes off my service times over the last 12 months. And I think that's just by doing things more regularly, and just little wee things along the way, like getting better at using e-file for cuticle prep and all of those types of things that I'd only sort of just started doing a year ago or 18 months ago. So obviously, like anything you do more often, you get better at it and more efficient at it. And that just comes with time and experience, I suppose.
And Pat, with you being a baby nail tech, but I know that you work within 2 shared spaces, what would you, if you had to do a price increase right now, what would you be saying were the things that had most drastically impacted clients in a good way in the last 6 months?
Oh, that's such a good question. Okay, so I think for me, if I were to do a price increase thing, I would be talking about improved efficiency as well. I've also passed more, like officially qualified in more services, which means that you can feel, I don't know, like more secure in my abilities as a nail tech. The comfort of client has also improved. So you'll feel more relaxed, like because of the armrest that we're using. Also, like both shared spaces that I've sat in, there have been improvements in how the desk setups look, which is part of that aesthetics thing that you want a client to be feeling like, oh, this is a nice, serene space. You feel good about it. So I think those are some of the things that I would be talking about. In saying that, like I have been thinking about like that price increase thing. And because I am working in 2 different spaces, I was thinking that for one space that I'm in, which is kind of like, it's meant to be like my main space I operate out of, but I haven't really been doing a lot because I haven't like officially been like, here's my Fresha link. I don't know. I was thinking I would go and kind of do it in like the opposite direction, like put up what the prices should be, but put it at like a discounted rate to show it as an opening promo. But the opening promo would just basically be my trainee prices at hard lacquer. So they would be the same, but it would just be like for a limited time, it's going to be a discounted rate to reflect the fact that we've just opened up the book / I'm a trainee. I don't know. And then that way people know that the price increase is going to come, and I can talk about those benefits that I'm working on as well. And like I'd probably talk about one-ups also, like things like we have, like it's easier to see what colors I have or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, this is interesting.
Wait,
Lots to think about.
I have 2 thoughts, and I'm gonna forget both of them because I was trying not to interrupt you. But first of all, first thought, like this is a whole different episode, but you saying about training prices for the other main space, if you are going to put up training prices, you have to either set the time limit now or set the number of people. Like, do not put them up and be like, these are my training prices, but this is what they will be, without also saying, these are my training prices for 2024. In 2025, I will be fully qualified and these will be the prices. So you're essentially giving them very clear notice, or saying, these are my prices, but the first 10 people to book them get this price. But otherwise, it's a whole other episode, but like just, you cannot open-ended say, these are my training prices.
Okay, I was thinking that, so that's good. I'm on the right track. Yay!
Then I had a second thought, but now I don't know if I can remember what it was.
Oh
What
no.
are you talking about? Oh, that's what I was gonna say, is if I were you and hypothetically putting up prices right now, you know how you were saying, oh, well, I'm more qualified in such and such. I would be saying, I will be using the additional profit from this price increase to become qualified in whatever's next.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's just like promising that you're doing something with their money.
Yeah, and that's true because I am continuing my education. So I will be funneling that money towards that in
Yeah.
some ways. That makes sense. That's so good. I was just thinking, like going back to the email thing earlier, the good thing about actually writing it out, like what the benefits are and what the benefits are associated with, like what specific things you've improved on. The good thing about writing it out in an email and having it like clearly there and succinct is that when you do have the clients coming in person and you're having those conversations, you have those talking points ready so that you're not like fumbling like, oh, yeah, I'm increasing my prices because you've already written it out. So you can kind of refer to those as you're having those conversations with your clients. And then it'll be easier for you to just, be proud and be like, yeah, that's why my prices are increasing, instead of being like, yeah, I don't know, because you've already prepared it. So
Yeah.
you're making it easier for yourself.
Even just the process of having made the list will have the things top of mind. So even if you're not referring to it with clients, you still have like taken the time to think about it.
Yeah, totally.
The other thing I would do is implement the new prices for new clients immediately. So yes, you're doing a price increase for your regulars and giving them a month's notice and all of that kind of thing. But if someone is going to book in with you tomorrow and then you're going to be like, cool, by the way, my prices are going up in 4 weeks, that's immediately annoying for them. So I would, the second you decide there's a new price and you send out the notice for regulars, I would publish all of the new prices and be only promoting the new prices. Like put all the new prices over Facebook, your website, your posters, like your brochures, everything. The regulars know their changeover date. They know it's happening in a month, but then anyone that books after the announcement just pays the new price. Like then there's no confusion for new clients that join, and then suddenly they're getting charged differently within a couple of weeks. I often in the full Salon Success course talk a lot about consistency. So the last thing you want is to follow up a first impression with a price increase, because it's not the actual increase that does the most damage. It's the change. Like, how can I trust your brand if you change everything up every 5 seconds? So I haven't known you long enough to know this is your first price increase in 18 months. I only have my own experiences to go by. And my experience is that I came to you and then you immediately changed the price. So I would change it for everybody on day one and only give notice to regulars. What would you guys do?
I think that is actually a really good idea, and I am probably going to go and mention this to Sue because I don't know that we have talked about that.
I'm just wondering, how does that logistically work? Like, you know how you post it on Instagram and you're like, my prices will increase, or my prices are increasing. And then you've got the new prices there. And then you send it to your regulars as well in an email. Do you just let them know, like, hey, for you, the new prices will change on this date. For everyone else, it changed yesterday or today?
Yeah, but also I'm not giving notice on, like, say, Instagram. When I say put your prices up on Instagram, I'm not saying make a post and advertise that they're changing. I'm saying just change them. Like if you've got a pinned post that shows your prices, delete that. Put a new one up. You don't have to mention that they're new. You don't have to mention that they're going up. You just change them. And same on your website. You just edit your prices. Now your prices are different. Like I wouldn't be putting on my website, just so you know, my prices have changed. They don't need to know that. That's inconsistent. I would just change them. And then I'm emailing the regulars to say, just letting you know that my prices have changed, but for you will continue to pay your old prices until this date.
Okay, that's really interesting because I have noticed that a lot of nail techs and even other salon, like beauty professionals, they tend to advertise that they are increasing their prices. It'll be like price increase, and it'll have like all these reasons, and everyone can see that, not like including like people who are just like looking on Instagram. So I'm guessing you're saying don't do that.
Yeah, like I think it's coming from a good place where they want to be giving notice, but who needs notice? Like someone that's never booked in with you before, why do they need notice that you're changing them? You don't owe them anything. They've never given you anything. The only people that you owe notice to are your regular clients and you've emailed them and made sure that you are going to see them in person before the price change happens. So they don't need to see it on Instagram or anywhere else. They have a personal email and a one-on-one in-person conversation with you. So yeah, I don't personally agree with the need to announce a price change online. There's no one there that needs to know about it. I would just quietly change the prices and tell the people who need to know.
I think that's such a good point, and I never thought about it like that.
Not to stroke my ego, but to elaborate, why do you think it's a good point?
Because like you said, just, and like we were saying earlier, like just get to the point. No one wants to faff around with the blah blah blah. Just the only people who need to know about the price increasing is the current clientele that are already seeing you.
Like, I think if I was thinking about booking in with someone and I'd been following them for ages and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to book in with them when I get next payday or whatever. And then they were like, we're going to put our prices up. I'd be like, oh, dumb. And then I would go looking for other people. Whereas if I booked in, I'd probably go, I swear it was 65 before. Maybe that was someone else. I must have read it wrong. And I'd just book in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I would have a similar thought process as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I would 100% assume that I made the mistake because that's the kind of thing I wouldn't notice anyway. So that's such a good point. Yeah, if they weren't going to give you money last month, there's no guarantee they're going to give you money next month. So you don't owe them notice, I guess.
I also never thought like that you don't have to announce your price changes. I just thought that's what you should do. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe just
because everyone does it. That's probably why we assume. It's like everyone seems to announce their price increase. So then you just kind of go, oh, I guess I'm supposed to as well. Like,
yeah, you feel like you have to, I suppose. But then on the other hand, you see people going, I'm not going to increase mine, so stay with me instead. Like, I don't know.
But we don't want to do like a race to the bottom, right? Because then we're all just squeezing each other for small amounts of profit. And then what? We're working for nothing. And then none of us can be nail techs anymore. And that would suck.
But also,
those always kind of rub me the wrong way. Like what you're trying to make me out to be like the baddie because I'm trying to make a decent living. Like,
yeah.
But also, okay, so I do have one immediate exception that I will give you. However, my question is, when was the last time you saw anyone outside the beauty industry announce a price increase? Like, when was the last time Countdown put an ad up saying, like the grocery store put an ad up being like, just letting you know, bread will cost more next week. They don't do that.
And then
it's just up.
You get to the checkout and you're like, what the heck?
Like, you get notice if your rent is going up. I guess you get notice for your power, but like any other retail service, clothing stores and stuff, they don't go like, just letting you know. And the one exception I was going to say is that sometimes they will do it to drive sales. And Monaco has done that before. One time when we put the foundation certificate price up, we promoted the price change, and it was actually really good because December for us is really quiet and then January's really busy because everybody is so busy with like Christmas and crap at December. So no one's enrolling. They got shit to do. And so I knew I was putting up prices on the 1st of January. I specifically chose that date because January is our busiest time of year. So it was the most likely not to get the most money. I don't mean that. What I mean is like people were going to be more motivated to sign up anyway because you're so motivated in January. But so I put them up. I gave a month's notice in December. It might have even been 6 weeks and did a whole campaign around it. And we had our busiest December in the history of Monaco because we got so many signups from people trying to get the old price before the new prices went up. So there's my exception, but I don't think that applies to a nail salon. You're not going to get people quickly booking in before the price goes up. You're going to get like, because if it's for a special occasion or they're not already a regular, the special occasion date isn't moving. They still need their wedding nails for their wedding. So regulars might try and get one more booking in, but they're the ones with the email and the notice, so they can do that. So yeah, there's exceptions, but I just think, why are we announcing prices publicly when no one else is?
So true. And then in the supermarket one just really cracks me up because especially lately, hey, you just get to the checkout and you are like, wow.
What have I got? It's true though. Hey,
Yeah,
like,
there's
think
nothing.
about it.
There's hardly anything in my trolley.
Like the petrol station, like they don't announce it to you every 3 hours when they put the price up.
And I guess we have to be thinking about it in terms of what are other luxury products and services, and how do they announce, do they announce, what are their strategies? Because when you think about it, getting your nails done is a luxury, right? Like you don't need it. The things that we talked about where they have to do, where they do a price increase, those are necessities. Like you can't live without power. You can't live without a place to, you can't live without a place to live. Whereas, and I suppose they don't even announce it when food goes up, and that's a necessity. But like somewhere like Louis Vuitton, they're not going to be like, yeah, we're increasing our prices. They just assume that if you're going to buy a bag from them, you're going to pay it whatever amount it's going to be because you're after the status or whatever benefit they have. And yeah, I don't know.
Before we continue on with the podcast, we just want to take a quick ad break to talk about our full course, Salon Success. So every one of our podcast episodes is based around a concept from our Salon Success course or a request from one of our students, and you can join that group too by going to www.monaco.ac.nz/course/marketing for a massive comprehensive course that covers everything about starting, running, and marketing your salon. So when planning a price change, I would say as well, like another note I've got down here is remembering that life is a barter. So you want something from your client, which is the acceptance of the new prices, and I suppose the money, but you want them to be okay, and they want something from you. It's the difference between perceived value and actual value. If you put your prices up by $10, I need to see $10 more value. So for me personally, the first time I put my prices up, I invested in a hot towel warmer and I kept it hidden until increase day. And the second the prices went up, I changed from just putting cuticle oil on at the end of an appointment to massaging the dust off their hands with a hot towel, scented with essential oils, application of hand cream, and then oil. The towel warmer cost me $180. The towels that you put in them, $30. The oil, $10 every 6 months or so. And the hand cream, say another like $10 every 6 months because you don't use very much. So my $10 increase paid for all of that improvement within 22 clients. Yes, I did the maths. And then that towel warmer, that first one lasted 4 years before the button broke and I had to get a new one. So it didn't cost me $10 per client, but the perceived value of my service did increase. So clients knew they were paying a bit more, but they were also getting a bit more. And still now people say that the hot towel is their favorite part of the appointment.
That's what we were discussing with the prices going up in August, was that we were going to get a towel warmer because I just think it's such a nice add-on,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And to touch on perceived value and actual value a bit more as well, and this ties in actually, Pat, with what you were already saying, but the difference between perceived value and actual value is the reason I regularly tell students what I just told you, Pat, not to offer low prices during training, always to decide on your full price and then a finite number of discounted appointments. So for example, the notes, I'm still going to say it, even though we kind of already talked about it, but I wrote down notes that I would say I'm now offering, say, for example, eyebrow shaping, because not all our listeners are just nails, which beauty all over. I'm now offering eyebrow shaping for $25, but the first 10 people to book it, 25 is too cheap, but you know what I mean. The first 10 people to book in with a friend get 2 for 1, or like anything like that, because that would give you 20 clients to build your confidence on. You don't feel like you're ripping off, but they also know your value from the start. And just to, again, elaborate on what we were already talking about, Pat, if you charge $10 for eyebrow shaping during training and I become a regular, then when you're confident and you finally increase your prices to $25, I need to see a perceived value increase of more than double, because you've spent all this time telling me you're worth $10. And while you've seen gradual increases in skill, as far as I'm concerned, you were worth $10 yesterday, and now you're expecting me to pay more than twice that today for the exact same thing. So just sort of, more elaborating still on what we talked about already, Pat, but like that perceived value concept is so important and applies to what we were talking about.
I just want to add to I remember you saying this to me somewhere along when I was doing my training, and I didn't listen because I'm a dork, and I wish I had. So if you're new and you're listening, listen. Do as we have said. Because if you offer free, like I've offered so many free sets when I was needing models and stuff, and it's, I don't know, you just get trapped in it kind of, and it's really hard to break the habit, especially if you're someone like me and you're a real people pleaser and you struggle with saying no. Like, it's so hard to get out of it.
A barter would be so good though. Like, like in exchange for nails, like, can you cut my hair or something? Like my model the other week, like my model for the exam, Erin, she's like, I'm gonna give you a romi. And I'm like, heck yes, like that's great. I'm I'm all for that. Like, let's do this.
Amazing. I like that too. I think the whole barter thing is really cool because especially in the beauty industry, because like doing your own eyebrows or doing your own nails is always so much harder than doing somebody else's.
I have a question around perceived value. So you know how we were talking about, at the same time as increasing the prices, we've talked about all these benefits that you're getting, all these improvements that I've done. And on top of that, I'm also going to do, let's say, a hot towel at the end of your service. What happens if your like clients are like, hey, I don't really want I don't really want that hot towel. Can I pay the old price? Like, what do we do about that?
You didn't tell them the hot towel was because of the price. Like, first things first, no one has ever said they don't want a hot towel unless they just had a spray tan. But also, you didn't say, I am giving you a hot towel warmer because I'm putting my prices up $10. You said, I'm putting my prices up $10 because I have just had an extra qualification in this and a new armrest for this, and my speed went up, and we got a new staff member, and like, we never mentioned the hot towel in the price increase email. The hot towel is like the day they turn up that they pay more. Like I just said, the hot towel warmer, when we did it, stayed hidden until increase day.
Oh, so you don't even mention it. It's just kind of like a happy surprise. Like, okay, that makes sense.
We're not saying I'm giving you a hot towel for $10. We're saying I deserve hot towels. I deserve $10 more. And then on the day the price goes up, you increase the value at the same time.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because in my mind, I was like, are we mentioning the hot towels anywhere? So we don't mention it. Obviously, the hot towels are an example, but we just don't mention it. It's just like a lovely surprise that from now on until forever.
You can say like, and once the prices go up, you'll see a few little changes around here that will hopefully make your experience even better. But I personally would not be saying anything that could be misinterpreted as I am selling you a hot towel for $10.
Yeah.
A hot towel that you don't even get to keep. Like, what a ripper. Whereas I'm putting my prices up because I deserve it, and then I'm going to give you the honor of having a hot towel from me. I'll tell them that.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go, because you don't want to have to be having that dispute with somebody, because it's kind of like, this is my price, and bonus, you get a hot towel. And if you don't want the hot towel, then too bad.
But also, it's not a
You can't do it anywhere
negotiation.
else though, right? You can't go to McDonald's and be like, oh, actually, I don't want the fries, so can I just pay $5? Like, they'll be like, no.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a negotiation. Like, Erin, when
Hmm.
you use the word dispute, you don't want to dispute with someone. It's not a negotiation. Like, I tell Carl this all the time with his kids when, I mean, like, kindly, but like, if he gets in this habit of kind of arguing back and forth with them slightly, they're like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, well, I want you to. And I'm like, no, stop arguing back. And it's the same with clients. Like, there's no reason for a dispute. There's no argument to it. It's the prices changed. They changed politely, but this isn't a negotiation. I give you nails, you give me money. You tell me what nails you want, I tell you what money you give me. There's
Either
no
pay the full
dispute.
price or don't get the service,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
with kindness. Obviously, you say, like, hey, I'm really sorry, but my price is you don't say I'm sorry, because I'm not sorry that I'm worth this. But you just say, hey, the prices are set based on a number of factors, and to maintain fairness to all of our clients, they're not negotiable. If they don't like that, they can go somewhere else.
Makes sense to me.
Dispute was probably a slightly drastic word to use, but
No,
yeah.
but you're not the only person thinking, I don't want conflict.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be people that reply to your price increase email and say, okay, well, please cancel all my appointments. And you just have to be like, okay, because your prices went up. You don't need them anymore.
Yeah. No, you're going to be attracting other clients that fit in your avatar.
Yeah. And like I've said it a million times, but you can put your prices, if you put your prices up 10%, you can lose 10% of your clients and still be earning the same amount of money, but now working 10% less hours too. So don't be scared of you people that are going to disappear. Just let them go.
Most of the time they don't actually go, right? I know last time I put mine up, one of my really loyal regulars was like, oh, I think it's gonna like push it out of my budget, or I can't remember what she said, but anyway, she didn't end up going. She ended up staying and being like literally my last client before I moved. Like, if they really want to come, it won't put them off. They'll recognize that you deserve it.
When we had the 300 client, our salon, when we were full-time multi-staffed, was 300 clients a month, and the price increase I did then, I know 4 people left. But let's talk about a few other creative ways of increasing prices. I have one example, and then you guys can share some if you've got them. But like one time, so when I first started full-time, I just set my prices. I knew nothing, and I just made them like what I just thought they should be. Like I just made them up, right? And then I got a business mentor and learned how to price properly. And I knew that I needed to put my prices up by a significant amount, like 20%. And I thought, no one will deal with that. That's such a huge increase. So what we did in that specific scenario for that specific price increase was invented a VIP program. So we chose our top 20 clients, which we didn't disclose the method of choosing top 20, but behind the scenes, basically what I did was I listed everybody in order of how much they spent per year. So the booking software that I had allowed me to do a report and order everybody by spend. Then I eliminated anyone from that list who was prone to cancellations, being late, ripping their nails off, anything that made them a less desirable client. And then I now had ideal clients ordered by people who had money. So we came up with our top 20 and emailed the top 20 the same price increase email with the price increase date at the top and the reasons why, but also said we were pleased to announce the introduction of a VIP program where our top 20 clients would receive a 10% discount on all appointments, with the list to be reviewed 6 monthly. And then we were like, congratulations on being like accepted into the VIP program. And these people were so flattered and so grateful, even though technically we just put their prices up 10% because our prices had gone up 20 and we offered them a 10% discount. So their prices were still going up, and multiple people literally emailed and thanked us for putting their prices up. And then everyone else got the same email, but instead of the congratulations part, it said you can now aim to join the VIP program by being on time, avoiding cancellations, and caring for your nails between appointments. There are only 20 spaces. We have 300 clients. This is a very exclusive club. And then that's the price increase where we lost 4 clients. And one of them had been offered the VIP deal and left, but we kept our 19 most valuable clients. And then everybody else, like 200 and something people, got a 20% price increase. And one person, I vividly remember, said at her next appointment, honestly, it's about time, you've always been too cheap. But like, how crazy is that we could do 20% and then they thanked us? It's all about how you do it. It's the perceived value thing again.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great story.
Hashtag goals.
It's ridiculous.
It's awesome. But and like that's really encouraging too, because we all freak out about it, don't we? I guess losing though the ones that are going to go because it is out of their budget or whatever, just making room for, like, you have to be in the mindset of that it's just making room for another client that is going to be in that budget.
And okay, so I've been a nail tech for a long time, so I have had a lot of price increases. So I have another story, and I can also think of another backup. But so another time, we didn't need such like a drastic increase, but we wanted to do a little one. But instead of increasing our prices, we just comboed everything. So our prices at the time were really split. So this is back quite a long time ago, where we had gel was newer. It wasn't such a thing as it is now. But the way our prices were structured was that you paid separately for your manicure, upgrading it to gel, and a gel removal. So like at the time of checking them out in the booking software, we would click like these 3 things and that would add up to $65. So then all we did was make the price of a manicure $65 and said it included removal and gel or traditional polish. So for all our regulars, they were already getting remove and redo with gel. So their price didn't change at all. All it did was get comboed up. But anyone new who came in with naked nails or wanted normal nail polish or like wouldn't have hit the combo was now paying more money than they would have before. So our overall prices were able to go up without actually impacting anybody.
Yeah, that's cool too. It's got me thinking, like, just because we're going through that process right now. So I kind of wish Sue was sitting here with me, actually. It would be cool. But
I emailed her and asked her to be on the podcast, not this episode specifically, but I emailed her and invited her to be on the podcast and she never replied. So you can hit her up.
Okay, I will. She's probably been quite busy with just other life stuff. She has a teenage daughter too, so I can vouch for how much running around you have to do for them. But yes, I will hit her up.
I'm just thinking about, like, okay, so currently I am doing trainee prices in your salon, Penny. Like, what would yeah, because it's lesser price for me because I'm a trainee.
No, I know, but it was the way it was like you were announcing to me that you work for me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea.
For anyone who's listening, obviously the listeners won't know that.
I was just laughing. I just thought it was funny.
I'm announcing to you, Penny, that I work for you. Like, you didn't know. Oh my gosh. Anyway, like, so, like, what would we need to do, like, for anyone who's currently a trainee and they'll eventually want their prices to go up? Like, what would need to happen to do that?
What do you mean?
So let's say right now, like, my gel polishes are $40. What would need to happen for it to go up to 50? Like, is it I need to be faster? Is it, I mean, I need to be faster, but but like,
do you mean what do you have to do to deserve a price increase?
Yeah,
Nothing.
I guess.
You don't have to do, market sets the value and you just have to make sure your price covers what your costs are. So I mean, you should all do how to set your prices, our module available at monaco.ac.nz, which will help you work out what your costs are and how to make a living wage. However, you don't have to do shit to to be allowed to put your price. Did Louis Vuitton ask permission to charge 10 grand for a handbag?
No, probably not.
They did nothing. They just told you that's what it's worth. And then the thing is that they then market it and brand themselves so that people who have that much money think that that's where they want to put their money. So, I mean, if you make your gel manicure $100 and then someone comes for what they believe is probably going to be a really high-end manicure based on the price, and then what they get is over the corner of the kitchen table, chances are people aren't going to come back. But then again, if the work that you do over the corner of the kitchen table is freaking incredible, then they probably will, at least until their back starts hurting. So you don't have to do anything. I don't know if Erin and Mel, who are also both experienced, like have a different opinion, but I don't. Yeah, okay, just be good. But if you're shit and you charge $200, someone will still pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
for me, it's like, I think too like in depth about this stuff when really like it's like you guys have talked about perceived value, not actual value. So something just as simple as like I did was giving all of my clients a little bag of lollies at the end of their service with a business card attached to it. Most of them loved that. Some of them would say no if they were like at the gym or whatever, but most of them would take it and go, oh, my kids really love this or whatever. So that was pretty easy. But even things like I never had FPOS in my salon. So even just adding that makes their life a little bit easier. So it increases that perceived value, right?
Yeah, totally. And even adding just you mentioning FPOS just made me also think about like payment options in terms of like your afterpay and things like that, because someone might book herself, her daughter, and her sister in for a package deal or something and be like, oh, how handy, I can put it on afterpay, and it could just be a one-off treat, but makes the better because you have the afterpay available for them to use.
So I have one last, and I feel like I say it all the time, but like my only real, and I honestly like I had this in my notes and unintentionally we've kind of segued into it anyway. Thanks, Pat, again. But confidence. Like, just believe you're worth it, and clients will believe it until you prove otherwise. Like, people just believe what you tell them. If you tell them that you're worth $200, they'll be like, well, she must be like crazy good. And it might not be in their budget, but it'll be in someone's budget. And then you just have to like walk the walk after you talk the talk, and then everyone will be fine and happy and come to you. Like, if I charged $300 for a gel manicure, a lot of the local people in town would stop coming because they're on a budget, but I guarantee someone would drive from 2 hours away just to see what the fuss was about. And
Yeah.
then I could do one manicure and make like all that money in one go.
That's so cool. That just almost makes me want to do an experiment. I'm just gonna chuck an ad out there.
Honestly, it would. Well, okay, think about, when you see on TikTok and whatever, I don't know, like the $50,000 manicure. Like, Pat, you were watching one with Lexi the other day, right? Like a $50,000 manicure that then they watched a whole show about it and then it looked like crap anyway. But you know who went and got it? Someone with too much money that was like, yes, I do want a bougie manicure.
It was honestly, I was like, that looks like crap, but it was for the diamonds. I'm pretty sure it was for the diamonds. But it was not great, but they got a really nice VIP treatment. It was actually 60,000 US dollars. So yeah, more money than sense. I don't know.
Yeah, but if we just got some diamonds that wouldn't be worth $60,000 and then we advertised a $60,000 manicure, then someone would come.
Someone out there would come. It depends on your branding, right? Like if you advertise yourself as like high-end celebrity manicurist or something, then they would pay for that. Or if your specialty was like helping people with like really gnarly toes, like people would travel for that. Yeah.
There was a salon in Auckland in one of the more high-end suburbs on the like high street of that suburb, who used to, ages ago, I'm sure they probably don't now, do manicures that had real gold in them. And this is a long time ago. So it's before TikTok, before any of this like kind of stuff. And they were advertising a 20 carat, whatever it is, manicure. And what they were doing is they had worked with a jeweler who was like, I don't know how jewelry works, but what I understand is that they were getting like the shavings or something, like they were buying the stuff that the jeweler would have thrown out for a really low amount. But this manicure was like a couple of grand, and it was because it had real gold in it, and it was all over. Like Facebook was the only popular social media, but I know it was all over Facebook, and then I'm pretty sure they were in the paper. Like people were talking about it. But even if they'd done one in real life, that's so much PR, and someone would have been like, I want that.
Just to try it, right? Like, ooh, I'm going to be extra bougie for my birthday or something. Like, someone would probably pay for it.
If I won lotto, like I would hope I wouldn't be too silly, but you bet your bottom dollar there would be things where I was like, you know what, instead of a Big Mac, I'm going to get that fancy one that is up the top and like that I never get because I don't want to pay $15. I don't know how much McDonald's is, but I don't want to pay $20 when I know that a $12 one McChicken is delicious. Like the second you have money, you start being more experimental with like seeing what you like to spend it on.
Like $1,000 ice cream sundae. That's an actual thing that people pay for. $1,000 ice cream sundae.
I was just gonna say, as well, I was gonna be like, the person who was collecting the gold shavings is a freaking genius.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
But then what?
Be able to...
Soak it off and throw it away?
I guess so. I don't know, but I think so. Because you probably couldn't keep it unless it was like actual curls. But I don't know how gold works. I don't think it does that.
If it's like a big enough of a shaving and you keep all of the shavings that you have and you have like a lot, could you then melt it down? I don't know, maybe. Who knows? But
I don't know how the world works.
Like, who's committed enough to doing all that work to melt down their gold shavings, right? So it's probably just like one and done. I don't know. Everyone can come up with something. Branding, important.
I just think to sum it all up, you have to have like thick skin and not give a shit, which is easier said than done. Rewind to the most recent, 2 episodes ago where we were like talking about taking things personally. Like I'm not saying this from a place of being this like super confident water off a duck's back person, but because I'm not, but like you just all have to remember, if you put your prices up 10%, you can lose 10% of your clients while still making the same amount of money and working 10% less. But also you're not going to lose 10% of your clients, because if you've been listening to us for a long time, you're also going to be doing one-ups every fortnight from now on. So people are seeing consistent small improvements, and you're going to save a big one-up for price increase day. So they see the perceived value of their appointment increase along with the price. Like if you are a good nail tech, you're just going to get people being like, about time, you deserve this.
One thing that Sue, Jess and I discussed with the price increase in August is we talked about like real simple nail art, like like your 1 or 2 minute things that you can do. We were just going to offer to people as a free, like it takes all of it. It doesn't take any extra time really. So that was to make them feel like they were getting something for that extra money as well, if they wanted it.
I kind of do that. Like I have my set times and I book too much time for my base services so that I'm not rushed and I can do a good quality job. So then even though I run ahead a lot, I know I've got time for anything random that comes up. And then if people are like, do you have time for some nail art? I'll be like, depends what it is. They show me. And then at the end, say if it was literally like polka dots or something like that, at the end, they'll go, cool. Oh, but what about the nail art? You haven't charged for the nail art. And I'll be like, that's okay, because it didn't take extra time. And then they are so stoked that they're getting a freebie. But I've not changed the expectation. They still expect to have to pay. But I was just like, oh, it's okay this time because we were running ahead. And then now they feel like they got something extra.
Yeah. I think, because we just talked about like chrome that doesn't, like full covered chrome. I mean, not anything isolated. What else? I think it was like like if you just want to do a feature nail with a bit of foil dabbed on there. Just those like real quick, easy things that
You are
take
crazy if you think chrome is in that category. Chrome for me takes so much longer.
a full coverage chrome.
Yeah, because I panic about whether it'll chip, so then I'm so careful to do every single thing that would mean it didn't chip. That it's a me problem.
Yeah.
But like for me, chrome is like hell no. Like people try and categorize it. They'll be like, can I get this? Like, can I get chrome? But it's just all over. So it's just like getting glitter all over, right? And I'm like, no, that is definitely an extra like $15. But that's just me.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I need to think about that one more.
I mean, no, if it works for you, it works for you.
But I just thought that was cool, like, because I don't find that those types of things take too much longer. It's just the more detailed stuff like line work, or if someone wants some flowers painted, or stuff that I have to spend more time on and be more detailed with.
So just before we wrap up, I just want to take a quick minute to remind you guys about our course, Salon Success. This is a massive, in-depth, super thorough, really awesome course that covers everything from starting your business, running it day to day, to traditional and social media marketing for your salon. You can find out more information at www.monaco.ac.nz/course/marketing. There is a full price as well as a payment plan option, so hopefully works for all budgets. So before we wrap up for the day though, Mel, Pat, Erin, what I'm going to say, what one-up idea do you have for anyone listening that's like, crap, but I already have a hot towel warmer, what would I do? Can we get one idea each for a one-up that you would do with a price increase?
Well, we've done a podcast episode on drinks before, so there's a little one-up thing, adding a nice drink option if you don't already have it.
Am I muted? No. I still really love the lolly thing. I loved it. My clients loved it. Or even like a nice little cookie. I used to get cookies made, but it was really hard to get the timing right to have enough cookies, but then not too much that they were getting like eaten by my kids because they were getting past their delicious stage. But yeah, I really love just the little something, even like a little mint or a little, I don't know, something. It's always nice at the end. And then it double purpose of put your business card on there and it gets out into the world. That's my favorite one up. If you don't give your clients something at the end of your service, do that.
Especially because it sends them away thinking of you.
Yeah. Oh, and I know we've talked about it before, or even if they don't use it, they leave it somewhere or someone gets in their car and picks it up. Like it's sort of a never-ending benefit to you. Yeah.
What about you, Pat?
I don't know. There are so many things you could do, but I'm really set on I want to have a spin the wheel thing. So I think that one would be fun because then just, dopamine, you don't know what you're going to get. It could be lollies, it could be a hot drink, it could be a hot towel. Who knows? But, it's nice and fun and it's still going to be added value. You might get a face mask. Who knows?
Yeah, I love that. Alrighty, with that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. Comments are now available on Spotify, so jump in down below this episode if you're on Spotify now and tell us what you would do as a one-up for your next price increase. We'll be back next week. Mel, what are we covering?
Next week, we're going to talk about supplementing your income with a second job or selling some retail essentials to boost up your income.
Lots of ideas coming then. That'll be real good for the newbies who are trying to transition into being a nail tech as well, instead of just all of us sitting here being like, we're full-time and this is what we do. I think that'll be a good one. Alrighty, so until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Lacquer NZ. Erin?
Mine is Little Moon Nails. Mel.
Mine is Jungle Nails NZ.
And Pat?
Mine is patsative.beauty.
Have a great week and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.